Give me a player that the doctors told you that this is going to explode. There's no way that this guy can make it. You love the player, and that player ended up having a long, great career. And you were right about the doctor. It never really had that injury problem that the doctors spoke about. Yeah, and then vice versa, maybe on the other side, one that clean medical, but just completely fell apart at the pro level when he came to it.
You mean other than Drew Brees? That's the one that haunts me and keeps me awake at night. And every time I see Nick Saban, we just shake our heads. And if we had passed him on the physical, we'd probably both still be in Miami. Wasn't
that another owner one though? Wasn't that another where the owner comes in a little bit to have some sway on that? Or was that just purely the medicals of the doctors?
Only in this way. And just to remind people, I was the GM of the Dolphins. Nick Saban was the head coach. We had agreed that we were going to sign Drew Brees, and I actually had a deal done on a napkin that Tom Condon, his agent, and I had sorted out the night before. And I had it in my pocket. We had a press conference. We were ready to roll. All he had to do was pass the physical. He had been hurt with the Chargers the year before, and it was a pretty bad injury. It was to his throwing shoulder, and our doctors completely rejected him after making this agreement and everything was set. We both were white as ghosts. Nick and I both couldn't believe we were going to have to do this. But here's how the owner was involved. In some cases, you can overrule a little bit if it makes some sense when there's not a ton of risk. But we were going to have to pay Drew Brees. It was a $10 million year deal. It was at the time 5 years, $50 million. And our doctors said, his throwing shoulder will never be the same. He got a 50-50 chance of being able to throw again like he did last year. We couldn't take that risk. And our doctor at the time of the Dolphins, our head orthopod, was best friends with Wayne Huizenga, our owner. So we couldn't go against the doctor because that's Wayne's boy. I mean, we'd have probably been firing ourselves if it didn't work out. And so we couldn't do it. It's the only time it's ever happened to me like that. Drew Brees goes on, obviously, to sign with New Orleans the next day, has a Hall of Fame career. And I've told the story many times. You know, my brother and Mickey Loomis were both there running the Saints at the time because I had just left there 2 years before. And so it's a crazy scenario. And talk about change the fortunes of a lot of people in Miami and in New Orleans. And so, yeah, that's a tough one to swallow. And still to this day, you wonder how things would have changed if we could have found a way to pass Drew on our physical, because he ended up passing the Saints physical, and obviously the rest is history.
Oh, you guys didn't have much of a pathway to getting your quarterback besides that, where Miami was at and where you guys were picking in drafts and the quarterback's coming out. I could be misremembering it wrong, but you didn't have a good alternative road, really.
Here's the other answer to the question you just posed. We ended up trading for Dante Culpepper, who was the quarterback of the Vikings at the time, and he was coming off a major knee injury. And our doctors said, he's great. You're going to have no problem with his knee. He's going to be 100% next year. And when we got him, he was never the same. He was never the same. Couldn't run on that leg. A year and a half later, he's out of the league. So both
and mobility was a big part of his game.
Big part of his game. He was never the same. So, hey, be careful what you wish for. And I always say, I'm no doctor. I can't. I've stayed at a few Holiday Inns, but that doesn't make me qualified to be a doctor. I don't even play one on TV, so I stay out of that lane. But that's two in particular going either way that kind of come back to haunt us in Miami.